welcome to your messages for the week. Today is Sunday, the 19th of March, 2023. Here in Spain, it is Father's Day and Fallas. So happy Fallas to everybody over in Valencia. It's only in Valencia, Fallas. It's not in the whole of Spain. Father's Day is in the whole of Spain, of course, but it's also Mother's Day in the UK. So happy Mother's Day as well. So there's a real mothers and fathers. There's a real masculine and feminine celebration going on today. There's a real co-creating energy. That's what I'm finding. So it doesn't matter whether you're a mum or a dad, but you are a co-creator because we're all co-creating this collective. And I want to say this beautiful collective for those of you that are co-creating heaven on earth, whatever your version of heaven on earth may be. So welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, my name is Deborah Jane Sutton, and you can find out more about me and the things that I do at my website, deborahjanesutton.com, on Facebook as Deborah Jane Sutton, or here on the YouTube channel. So have a good browse around, because it's not just card readings. I've got my lessons in awakening and self-healing techniques and interviews and all sorts of things. So, and I'm feeling, that one wanted to come out. I'm feeling to play with some other decks as well today. So we're going to see how that works, if it comes in or not. Okay, anything else? Let's have a look. I think that's it. So we are now, yes, halfway through March. Astrologically, March is an amazing month. So I think last time we talked about Saturn moving into Pisces, which was on the 7th of March, and I noticed so many changes. The messages for the month of March, if you haven't seen those, I'll put a link in the description, the video in the end screen. We're all about personal transformation, and that's what's happening in March. And astrologically, next week we've got this week coming, yes, we've got Thursday the 23rd, which is when Pluto moves into Aquarius. And Pluto is known as the generational planet. Astrologers still call it a planet. Because it moves, I don't know, is it 12 or 30? I don't know the details. I'm not an astrologer, as I keep saying, but it does move very slowly. And so you don't get to experience it moving very often. So when it transitions, it is a big deal. So that might be quite fun to have that checked out as well. I'm always recommending getting your birth chart read, and I will put a link in the description to Amy Bird and her website, because she's an amazing natal chart reader. So looking at these cards, actually they're face up. That's really unusual, isn't it? Oh, maybe that's part of my personal transformation. Reading, they came out, you saw me shuffle them. Normally they're face down, aren't they? And I wasn't thinking, and they've all come out face up. So I don't know, is that going to make a difference? I don't know, we shall see. The first one, I love this one. To me, right, my interpretations might be a little bit different from the typical tarot. Three of Wands. Wands is physical action in the physical world. It's fire. So there's a transformation that we keep talking about. In my opinion, he is looking out over the shores of heaven on earth. Now, of course, the Three of Wands comes after the Two of Wands. And in the Two of Wands, he's holding the whole world in his hand. And he's also looking out over the shores of heaven on earth, but it's further in the distance. And he's got the whole world in his hands, and he's making a decision, because of course twos are decisions. So he's choosing to use the whole world as his playground, the universe as your playground, the whole world is your oyster. What's the expression? So he's making decisions to explore, everything and anything. And while looking out at the possibilities, I want to say, the infinite possibilities of life and of our creation and of our choosing. What we choose, we create, and that opens up infinite possibilities when you realize that you are the creator. And you realize that you're creating through your choices, you're creating through your emotions, you're creating through your beliefs. You're creating through your feelings. When you realize that, then we start looking at ways of manipulating. I want to find another word for that because, or maybe we should reclaim that word because it has such a negative connotation. But of course, manipulating just means to get things to do what you want them to do. So you can manipulate things for the highest good of all. And that's what we're doing when we're manipulating our own energy. We're using it in a creative manner in order to create for the highest good of all. You are the whole universe in one human being. So if it's for your highest good, it will be for the highest good of the collective. It will be for the highest good of humanity. As long as it is in your highest good, doesn't always mean your most comfortable good. Doesn't always mean what you want. Sometimes it's what you need, isn't it? Sometimes your highest good is stuff that you need. It might not be what you want, if that makes sense. Anyway, so this card comes after the two of wands. So I'm looking at it as you've made a decision. You wouldn't be watching this video if you hadn't made a decision to work on yourself, to do the inner homework, as I call it, to look at life from a different perspective, to look at life from a higher level of consciousness, and just to see how, as the creator of your own experience, you can make changes with the way that you think, the way that you believe, the way that you feel, in order to create the best result for you. So he is the three that comes after that. So he's already made that decision to do this inner work. He's already made that decision to create heaven on earth. He's made the decision to co-create heaven on earth. He's made the decision to build a better world. He's made the decision to create a better life for himself and the collective. He's made that decision, and that's what he's working on. And it's not always comfortable, but he's sovereign over his own energy and he's working through it, because sometimes in order to feel better, we need to process those emotions that don't feel so good, and we need to feel into them. We're not bypassing them, are we? And we need to acknowledge these emotions. We need to embrace the whole human experience that we've chosen, which involves love, which involves grief, which involves getting on with people, not getting on with people, which involves feeling healthy, not feeling healthy, which involves feeling prosperous, not feeling prosperous. All those beliefs and feelings of lack, inadequacy, and all of these regret, remorse, all this stuff. I mean, it's like and it can get very overwhelming. Pushing it down isn't the answer. Expressing it is tiring. I mean, it can feel like that when you're on the path. Which brings me to just living in the now. Living in the now is the way I think to go with that. And one of the phrases that I love, especially recently, is, and this too shall pass. And this too shall pass. Because we don't want to dumb down negative, uncomfortable, should we call them uncomfortable feelings, uncomfortable beliefs, uncomfortable situations. We don't want to ignore them or push them down. We need to feel into them. We need to be, we need to see it for what it is. But we also want to create a higher frequency within us, of course. So this too shall pass. Is a nice phrase. When you're in meditation and you're in the now moment, you're not feeling comfortable for whatever reason, because it's March basically and stuff's coming up. This too shall pass. So yeah, that could help you just distance yourself from the intensity of the discomfort. That's what I want to say. How to distance yourself from the intensity of the discomfort. So yeah, he's looking out over the shores of heaven on earth, and he's made his decision about the direction he's going in, and he's made his path to be sovereign and not to be governed by anything or anyone. So that also involves perhaps a new lifestyle, a new way of doing things, meeting new people that have similar thoughts to you, meeting people that have similar beliefs to you so that you can co-create with them. He's very much the co-creative, although he's on his own in this picture. This card has the three. It has a co-creative energy about it. And the other two cards, this is the Three of Swords, which is about heartache and grief and loss. And I think a lot of that is coming up. I mean, it always does when you take those layers of the onion, the deeper you go, there's always going to be a little bit more grief. The next card is also the Eight of Swords. Although they're both swords, which is air, mental processes, they are the mental processes. So it is thoughts, but our emotions are very much attached to our thoughts. It's a thought that we have that makes us feel an emotion. So I see this one as being negative beliefs. She's feeling tied and restricted and unable to achieve her goals, which is the castle in the background. She's unable to achieve her goals. She feels unable to achieve her goals. And she's feeling restricted, like she can't, there's no way out. But it's only her putting herself in that prison, of course. We put ourselves in the mental prison. So this is very much about beliefs. If you're feeling restricted by the outside world, where are you restricting yourself? Okay, so this card for me is very much about us caging ourselves through our own limiting beliefs of not being good enough. I can't do it. I don't have the support. I don't have the knowledge. Nobody appreciates me. I don't have the power. I'm not good enough. All of those. This one, although they are similar in a way, this one I see more as the emotions attached to the thought. So this is the thought. Okay, and it's piercing the heart, which is causing the negative emotions. So this is very much about grief. For me, the way I look at things is trapped emotions. It's the trapped emotions. It could be of resentment, bitterness, anxiety, overwhelm, crying as well. There's a connection in this card with me to crying. If people, I think it's so important that people, and I'm not sure why in our culture, we have been taught to sort of, no, don't cry, please don't cry, please don't cry. And if your best friend is crying, you give them a hug and say, oh, don't cry. If you think about it, that's really counterproductive because crying is a physical biological mechanism that the body naturally uses in order to process a negative emotion. So, and when you always feel better. When you're having a cry, the negative emotion is being processed. It's exactly what's happening. The negative emotion is being processed out. It wants to move in cycles. And when you stop a cry, because you don't want to embarrass yourself, you don't want to embarrass other people, you don't want to make a scene, you don't want to be seen as weak, you've been brought up to believe it's wrong. I've met clients who can't cry. And you often, when you want to cry and then you try and stop it and you get that lump in your throat, that is literally the energy of the emotion getting blocked. You're literally blocking your own emotion. You're literally trapping your own emotion. And it could be an emotion from years ago that's been trapped, that because of the beautiful astrology and the beautiful energies and because of the depth of healing that you're going through, it's coming up to be processed. A good cry about something from 25 years ago, 30 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, when? It could be yesterday. Doesn't matter when. But it's coming up because you're tapping into those deeper layers of the onion. And it doesn't matter, it's coming up. And a lot of people, and myself included, often have that feeling of, oh, I thought I'd dealt with this. Could be an issue from the past, some emotional trauma you've experienced in the past. And we think we've dealt with it, and then it comes back again to rear its ugly head. And you're like, oh, there's a deeper level. There's a deeper level to be had with this healing. And that's why in my video about forgiveness, I call it the path to forgiveness, because I think it's like cyclical. It's like you deal with it at different levels depending on your level of consciousness. And the higher your level of consciousness, a different way you're going to be dealing with it. I'll put a link in the description as well in the video in the end screen for that video on the path to forgiveness. Because the whole concept of forgiveness changes as you look at things from a higher level of consciousness. So this is coming round, this is grief that's coming round again, and you might be like, oh, feeling like this again. I thought I've dealt with all of this. Can you deal with it differently? Can you, or it could be another way I look at it. We talked about the dirty water from the bucket of dirty water analogy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, have a look back at my videos because you'll see it on the thumbnail, dirty water. But it could be that this is really the dregs. This is like the last of these emotions because we have 50 trillion cells. Well, actually, I heard from a yogi that I was studying with that we have 70 trillion cells. Bruce Lipton says we have 50 trillion cells. I don't know, I haven't counted. But anyway, we have trillions of cells. And these emotions can get stored in the cells of our body, cellular memory. And when you've got so many, I mean, if you've got anger stored in numerous cells, then you're going to be a fairly angry person. But even if you're living in peace and harmony, with so many cells, it's understandable that you might still have one or two that have anger or despair or anxiety, whatever the emotion is, jealousy, humiliation, shame, guilt, whatever, stored in the cells of your body. And that's where the cleansing is coming. I feel like the cleansing is getting so deep now that we really are, because we want to create heaven on earth, and there is no place for those low density emotions, that we really are getting a chance to clear the debris. And that's what I think this is about. That's why I think these two have come up, because it's the emotions and it's our limiting thoughts which, you know, are causing the emotions, that we are really scraping out, I think now. And you're probably dealing with it differently than you would have done in the past. But it is important to cry, of course. And it is important to, we can laugh, we can release these trapped emotions through laughter just as easily as through crying. We can release trapped emotions numerous ways, we know that. Of course, if you're new to my channel, you don't know that I am a fan of the emotion code. Check out my Lessons in Awakening and my self-healing techniques, because there's the emotion code, there's the reprogramming your subconscious mind using brain integration to help you love yourself and feel better about yourself. There's also the tapping, the EFT one. There's also meditations and other things. So have a look at all the different ways. And there's loads of others, of course, which other people do. So there's loads of ways of processing those emotions. But this, it looks like they are coming up to be processed this week. So if you feel like having a cry, please do have a cry. If you can have a good laugh, a good belly laugh, that's going to help as well. And the last card this week is the Wheel of Fortune, which is why I'm seeing these cards in the middle like this, because we've got creating heaven on earth here. This is your last card. The Wheel of Fortune is your destiny. It's your destiny. It's like it's your purpose. It's what you came here to do, is to create heaven on earth. What we came here to do is to be who we really are, which is love, joy, light, harmony, all of those things, and to share them with others. And if we don't quite feel like that, because the intensity of the energies are making us exhausted, it's because this stuff's coming up. And this stuff is coming up to be dealt with, be heard. It wants to be heard. And another thing to remember, there's different levels of dealing with things, of course, but another level of dealing with things is if you're feeling animosity, if that's the right word, towards another person or towards a situation, and you're kind of pointing fingers and blaming and playing that game. This is the Byron Katie work. It's really powerful. Just write down in your notebook what it is you want to say to that person or about that situation. What don't you like about that situation? You can be really petty and you can be really judgmental, right? And just write down all the things you say as a person. You just want to get something off your chest, right? Well, rather than have the confrontation, drama in the physical world, which you can do, of course, um, rather than that, you can just write down exactly what you want to say to them, and how you're viewing them without pussyfooting around, right? Just get it all out, right? And you could be really petty, really judgmental. It doesn't matter. It's important to get it out of you, okay? It's self-expression because on a quantum truth level, there is only you. And everybody outside of you is a reflection of a part of you. Now, we might see something negative in someone else. And we might think, oh, they're much worse than I am. You might think that. But they're a reflection of a part of you, not all of you. They're just holding a mirror up to a part of you. So when you write that down, all those things you want to say, calm down a little bit afterwards and then go back and remember that whoever it was that you're angry at, or whatever situation it was that you're not happy with, have a read and see, is there a mirror being held up to you on some level? It doesn't have to be the same level. On some level, read it back as if it is your higher self talking to your human. We can do that with love. Is there a message there for you? Try it and see. There may be, there may not be, but try it, because that's the quantum theory, isn't it? That everybody, so when we're triggered, it's like, I'll put a link into that one as well. We need to make a note of this. What videos I'm putting in. So I'll put a link into the triggers one and the I might as well do the detaching from your thoughts one, because that's what this is about. It's the thoughts one, isn't it? I'm also wanting to do the video on changing your beliefs, because that's what this is. Changing your beliefs, so that you can attach a positive emotion. These emotions are attached to a negative belief. If you can change the belief to a positive belief, then you will have positive emotions attached. So I'm just going to make a note of that as well. I'll put it all in the description in case it's useful to you. So yes, you're going to read back those notes and just see if any of it applies to you. So was the situation that you didn't like, or the person that triggered you, were they in fact holding up a mirror and letting you know? Because the anger or the frustration or the whatever it was that you were feeling, the trigger, the annoyance, or whatever it was that you were feeling in the trigger, is coming from you. It's yours. And the person outside of you is a reflection of a part of you. So it was actually you talking to a part of you. I mean, that's the quantum truth, but it's just really difficult to get our head around that sometimes. So that might be a good practice. I just wanted to put that out there. And it is our destiny to go through this process. That's why it's called the Great Awakening. This is the Great Awakening. Is waking ourselves up to not only the power that these trapped emotions and limiting beliefs have on our reality, but our power at being able to shift them. Our power at being able to shift them. I mean, I've read in a couple of places that astrologically or energetically, or however you want to view it, it said that none of us are going to be the same people at the end of this month that we were at the beginning of this month. That's quite a big one, isn't it? I mean, that's how powerful March 23 is. And this is very much our life purpose. And we've all got a different life purpose. This is my birth chart card as well. Though I've already said I'll put a link into Amy Bird and her readings in the description. But our life purpose, our destiny, we all have our own. I mean, ultimately, the collective one is to raise our frequency, expand into higher levels of consciousness, and create heaven on earth, right? But on an individual level, of course, our individual purpose will be so super unique, which is where also the soul profile readings come in. I'll put a link in to my website as well for that, in case you want your soul profile read, to find out what your energetic strengths are and what you came here to experience and express. Because when we experience and express what we came here to experience and express, that's when we align with our divinity. And that's when I was going to say life gets easier, but perhaps it doesn't if you're getting closer and closer into the core of the onion. But the quality of life improves. And that's when you align more with your divinity, and that's when we can create heaven on earth. So this is very much connected to life purpose, which is interesting because one of the decks that I wanted to explore today is life purpose. And I've never used these cards for a collective reading, group reading before. They're very much obviously for individuals because they cover a whole load of life purposes. So I'm really curious to know. I'm going to just have a little shuffle and see what comes out. And I'm wondering whether, yes, more than one. They're going to come out underneath the ones that are already out. So I'm not sure. I don't think that's going to be a clarifier. It might be. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. This clarifying business is kind of new to me, those of you that have been following me. Sometimes the later cards clarify the earlier ones, and sometimes they just expand on it. I guess it's the same thing, isn't it? Do we have any other? Actually, I'm not getting any others. I am actually getting two there. So there isn't one for each card. Let's have a look. Interesting. Oh, wow. I actually really love these because I've not used them on a group, but it's really relevant. I really love this. Sensitivity. You're becoming more sensitive and need to make changes accordingly. Can you see that? You're becoming more sensitive and need to make changes accordingly. Of course. And this is why we feel things that a lot of people don't feel. And this is why our diet changes. I mean, I'm finding a lot of people, as they expand into higher levels of consciousness, some people will just say as they get older, they start drinking less alcohol because they're more sensitive, right? Or they start eating less, or they start going vegetarian because they get sensitive to dense, heavy foods. We get more sensitive to feeling the energies. So when we're in a dense environment, walking into banks, stuff like that, even walking into supermarkets can make some people feel uncomfortable. And it's because your energy, the higher your frequency, the more sensitive your energy. So you could perceive that as a negative thing because it makes it more difficult to navigate the density of the matrix, the 3D physical world. So I'm asking you, the card is asking you, where it says you need to make changes accordingly. Avoid supermarkets, that's a good one, isn't it? Avoid banks, that's a good one. It's good working in cash again and stuff like that. But not only that, it's about understanding that your gifts are coming from your sensitivity. Your gifts are coming from your sensitivity. If you're an energy healer, that's because you're sensitive. If you're a sound healer or whatever you are, if you're intuitive, if you're working with crystals and you can feel their energy, if you're a feng shui consultant and you can feel the energy in the houses, if you're a gardener and you can feel the energy of the plants, whatever you're doing, your sensitivity is helping you. It's making you more tuned in to your environment, the people you're working with, the plants you're working with, whatever it is. The more sensitive you are, the more you're going to pick up the higher frequencies and the messages. That's what it's all about. So this is a perfect card to come up for the collective. As I did that, I kind of knew beforehand that I wanted to use them. And I just thought, oh, that's strange, because a lot of the cards are, it's like, you're going to work with animals, or you're an author, or you're a builder. It says things like this, and I'm thinking to myself, these cards aren't going to make sense on the collective. We're not all going to do all of these things, but these two cards are perfect because they are for the whole collective. So I'm glad I followed my intuition on that one, or my sensitivity, because that's what it's about. Follow your sensitivity. Follow it. Certainly don't curse it or damn it. So like, oh, I'm so sensitive, I can't do this, I can't do that. The reason you feel like that is because your energy is sensitive. So rather than viewing it as a negative, then because also you'll get things like you'll start getting uncomfortable on underground trains. You might get more sensitive to what we might call phobias, because the more sensitive you are, the more energies from other lifetimes start coming up. And you might be more sensitive to, I don't know, insects or something, and that could be coming up from another lifetime or something. Because everything's happening in the now, and the more sensitive you are, the more you're able to tap into the higher realms. And that's where other dimensions are, and other timelines are, and things like that, other past lives, other lives, however you want to view it. So, sensitivity, honor your sensitivity. If you are getting uncomfortable in an environment, with a person, with a situation, listen to your sensitivity. And just because everybody else is able to do it, it doesn't matter. They might have a lower frequency, whereby they can take it. We need to be more gentle with our energy because it is quite literally more sensitive. It's like a lot of the kids with allergies, or with reactions and things, they're more sensitive children. And I think that's why a lot of people refer to the younger generation as being lightweights or what have you, but compared to us, they are, because we were born in that density and we had to kind of really struggle and push in that density, whereas we are creating a lighter experience for our children, and they are lighter, they are more conscious than us, and they are more sensitive. So they're not lightweights. They are more sensitive because they are going to be participating in this heaven on earth that we're making way for. We're paving the way. That's what he's doing. He's paving the way through action and through transformation. Because wands are fire, transformation, and they are action in the physical world. So through action and through transformation, which is what we're doing in March 23, we're paving the way. But our youngsters they're really sensitive, and they're coming up to participate in that heaven on earth. They haven't incarnated to participate in that density. Okay, and then the other card is your life purpose fully supports you. It says support. Your life purpose fully supports you. I love Pablo Picasso's quote, the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. Your life purpose is to do whatever excites you, whatever you're good at, whatever you enjoy doing, whatever you enjoy creating. It's your life purpose. And loads of people will say, but I can't make a living doing that. This card has come to say the opposite. Supports your life purpose, fully supports you. Because what happens is when you do the things you're good at, you invest in yourself, and you spend more time doing what you love, what you enjoy. So in my case, it would be reading cards and other things. But the more time you invest doing that, then the more you're going to be able to tap into your own guidance. If you're doing artwork, or if you're creating something, a hobby or something, crafts, you could be building, you could be gardening, you could be walking out in nature, whatever it is, working with animals, whatever it is. The more you do it, the more you're going to tap into your highest guidance. And the more you follow that guidance, the more you're going to be supported. So this has come to tell you. So you're in a situation where you think you can't leave the day job. Your life purpose fully supports you. Because what it will do is it will raise your frequency. And once your frequency is raised, then the things that come to you will be of a higher frequency. So you will have more clients, you will have more people helping you, you will have more situations whereby you can share your gifts. Because everything is coming to you because of who you are. They're not coming to you because you put an ad in the newspaper. They're not coming to you because you have a certain qualification. They're not coming to you because you're making a certain amount of money. Things are coming to you in your reality because they are vibrating at the frequency that you are. And your life purpose fully. Wow. Quite a long one, I think, isn't it, this week? I don't know. That's your messages for the week. So get in touch if you'd like a private reading. When I do the card readings, the energy readings, if you haven't had a soul profile reading, I do it there and then in the card reading. It's not two separate they are two separate modalities, but I put them together. So when you have a card reading with me, I will be able to tap into your divine gifts and strengths and characteristics that you came here to experience and express. And we could also have a look at the life theme that you have come to experience and express during this lifetime. When you align with all of that and you make conscious choices and you create conscious channels in your life to express that part of you, that's when your whole life comes. That's when your life purpose fully holds. So, lots of love to you all. Have a fantastic weekend, whether you're celebrating Father's Day, Mother's Day, or just life. Enjoy, because you know I love you all. Bye for now. See you in the next video.